Hey guys, welcome back to the Casual NBA Fanatic podcast. Now, today's episode is all just going to be about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And really just today, we're just marking obviously the feat of breaking Wilt Chamberlain's 20-point per game streak of 126 games, add that to 127 now for SGA currently. Who knows where he'll end up getting to on that mark. But just also just going through literally the argument that SGA is continuing to press. And the same argument he's been trying to press basically since 2024. So the past 3 years, and it's coming undeniable now. But is he actually the best player in the world? Now, when we talk about best player in the world, it's more of a talent argument as well. So in a vacuum, if you're picking one player to start your franchise for one season starting in 2027, it's probably going to be Nikola Jokic to build your franchise around. But in terms of being holding the title as the best player on the planet, it's hard to say it's not this guy. And obviously after whatever happens this postseason, we'll decide again. But it's a shame that after everything SGA has done in the past 2 years and everything he has achieved and all these titles that he still holds on to right now, MVP, Finals MVP, champion, scoring title leader, best scorer in the NBA just in general as a talent and name sort of perspective. It's hard to say, and it's sad to say that someone that's achieved all of this isn't who we consider the best player in the world, but that's just more of a stamp to how exceptional Nikola Jokic is. But in terms of what SGA is doing right now, we might have thought what he did last season was exceptional, but this year, individually, he's just adding on top of that. And again, this is a league that is continuously getting better year by year, extremely rapidly. It's even a team like San Antonio, a team that we probably thought was maybe top 12 at best throughout the offseason, and we're looking at them as the second best championship favorite right now, along with all these other teams that we also anticipate to be as good as they are right now. But OKC have more than held their advantage over the league, and in big part because SGA continues to improve. OKC are 52-15 now after their win over the Boston Celtics, and SGA's offensive impact has been the key aspect as to why he's the runaway MVP favorite once again this season. Again, MVP counts, it's about your team success, but also your individual value to your team. That's what makes you the most valuable player for the regular season. Now, SGA is a plus 11 points per 100 possessions to OKC's offense. That's per cleaning the glass. And in the, literally just the half court. So we know OKC, one of their biggest advantages is their athleticism, their ability to, force these defense to offensive possessions more than most teams can with the amount of stops and the ball pressure they can provide at the point of attack. But literally in their half court, that's where one of the biggest weaknesses for this OKC constructed roster is to being able to execute in that 5-on-5 slow pace environment. Lack of skill, sometimes lack of ball handling, the injuries, J-Dub and AJ Mitchell have also been out. But to their half-court offense, this guy is a plus 14 points per 100 possessions per clean the glass. That's an emphatic mark of literal value to the biggest weak point of the best team in the NBA. He's the runaway favorite. You can make an argument for Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Cade Cunningham, Victor. There is no argument that actually climbs over what SGA has done and what he has meant to OKC over the past season itself. And he's been the most valuable regular season player for the past 3 years in a vacuum. OKC are on track to be back-to-back-to-back number one seeds in the Western Conference. That hasn't been done since the prime Golden State Warriors were doing that back in the mid-2010s. So what this guy is doing right now just doesn't get enough love because everything he does is built upon consistency. And that's something that doesn't look as glamorous, but let's just get into the biggest consistency marker that we've had from SGA, and that is what he literally just accomplished today by breaking Wilt Chamberlain's 20-point per game streak. And he did it in a win over Boston today. Again, without J-Dub, which hasn't been an uncommon occurrence for OKC this year. J-Dub's been pretty much out of the unit for the entire year consistently. But in this win over Boston, again, just absolute scoring mastery and efficiency and just absurd production. 35 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists on 13 of 18 from the field. Again, this isn't a guy with Nikola Jokic's frame who can just finish plays, finish all these easy looks. Most of this is just completely self-generated off the dribble types of looks. and he's nailing 13 for 18, 72% field goal percentage in a game against one of the best defenses in basketball. Again, no Derek White. Tatum's back, but no Jason Tatum in this one. But he's still seeing some really high-quality physical defenders who, in theory, can disturb SGA a little bit. Like we saw Hugo Gonzalez actually play really disciplined physical defense down the stretch of this one. In particular, Jaylen Brown as well, doing extremely good work in that one. Baylor Sharman, not too great in this game, especially in the first 3 quarters as SGA was climbing towards that record. He just overplays more of that drive, tries to force SGA into the over-the-top shot making, but the thing is, SGA is just that phenomenal at literally shooting over the top efficiently. So in this game against Baylor Sharman specifically, he was cooking up. But in this game, like, it just did everything that we've seen from SGA over the past few years, and why SGA is probably a top 5 scoring talent that we've ever seen in terms of just peak. And like it was turning defense to offense in transition early, bit of mismatch killing on the perimeter, all these step back looks from the 3, from the mid range, his ability to snake high pick and rolls, getting downhill, but also being able to pit stop through the lane for those free throw jumpers as well. Isolation where he's, again, pit stop drives, everything, again, glamorously working for SGA in another game against a high quality defense. And today he just got the record that he was bound to always get. 127 games of literally not having a bad scoring night for regular season standards. The last time SGA scored under 20 points was in October of 2024. So the start of last season, again, that was against San Antonio, and again, that's a trend that we've got to watch out for as we look towards the postseason. San Antonio typically has SGA's number. But in terms of just literal inevitability night to night of being a consistent scorer, again, most superstars have quiet nights. It doesn't even have to be a bad scoring night. Like Nikola Jokic will go for 15 points every now and then. Nikola's a different sort of beast. But Anthony Edwards, Luka, Cade had 8 points today. A lot of these superstars tend to have quiet nights here and there. But in the aggregate, they're super consistent. But the fact that this guy literally doesn't have bad or quiet scoring nights is just a level of an advantage for OKC that is really hard to quantify. Especially, again, for a team that holds their head high on what they can do defensively. And it's just an absolute cap to SGA's literal value and his unique value to OKC's situation. And again, he's probably just the most consistent scorer that we've ever seen. And I'm not talking about a guy like LeBron over a 22-year career and what he's been able to do. I'm just talking about scoring peak. This is the most consistent scoring prime that we have ever seen. And it's because just your ability to offer a reliable scoring base is more impressive than having these high scoring ceilings like what Anthony Edwards, like what Luka Doncic bring when we are talking about a regular season context. When you look at guys like Luka, he can go absolutely cold from beyond the arc, absolutely tries to delve into too much foul baiting as well, ends up hunting really poor quality looks. He's attacking the rim even less now. So those high ceiling nights that Luka can hit, to me, that trait is much less valuable in the regular season compared to what SGA can do night to night, giving you 20 and 30 point games consistently in his sleep, especially again for what OKC need with their lack of ball handling depth. And then in terms of just SGA, what we've seen over the past few years, every single year he's topping up on what he brings as a scorer. And again, it's getting undeniable now when we talk about the art of just scoring mastery. There might only be a handful of players, or maybe a touch more than a handful of players, of just perimeter guards who have actually hit the stride and level of perfection that SGA has hit. Again, we go into guys like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. They might be on the top of that peak. But this guy is certainly getting there. If not, he's already on that mountain of those guys. When we are talking about, again, peak seasons, we haven't seen what SGA is going to look like when he transcends to his 30s just yet. But just in terms of last year, again, 68 wins with OKC. He was, to me, the clear MVP favorite. He gets finals MVP, wins the title. And then this season, again, I'm just going to go through a few scoring possession metrics just to quantify the level and magnitude of improvement on already what was a historic season last year. Last year, on isolation possessions, SGA was giving you 1.1 points per possession. That was already elite, around the 90th percentile in the NBA. 1.1. This year, he's giving you 1.18 points per possession. That is absolutely phenomenal. I think he's in like the 97th percentile for that marker. And then again, pick and roll last year, again, 1.1 points per possession. Now it's 1.17. Last year, 35% on all pull-up threes. This is when he was trying to carve out that into his scoring diet. 35% on pull-up threes last year. Now it's at 39%. And he, like the actual, like the footwork that he brings continuously, the balance, the composure, the agility, it all enables him to unlock all these just consistently efficient looks that are jump shots. Obviously, we talk about SGA as a driver, getting to the rim, getting to the line as well, flourishing through contact. But his ability to actually destroy the defense before contact by being able to literally shoot over the top, it's just such an inevitable advantage that SGA has become one of the most consistent scorers ever. And the ability for him as well, like again, we talked about how he's trying to carve out the three ball last year, but again, SGA's been one of the best intermediate range scorers of all time, one of the best free throw line drawers in NBA history. In terms of rim pressure getting to the line, absolutely elite at taking advantage of open angles and like holes in the defense continuously, whether it's in transition, in the half court, whatever. But now he's added that three ball, that step back three. And I mean, before today's game, I mean, he had 3 games where he was basically using literally just the step back three to kill teams in the clutch down the stretch of games. Like the ability to knock down step back threes, and not even like Luka fades to his left every time basically he goes for a step back three in isolation. Usually we'll see him perched on the left wing or in the center on the 3-point line. Always goes towards his left. Same, like James Harden was kind of like similar vibe too, just one single angle on that step back. But SGA can go both ends, both angles, left or right. And it's just a level of perfection with the footwork and balance. And his ability to flourish on any angle, and that dexterity on each angle is something that, it's just something that we've never seen before. Like we talk about how perfected Kobe Bryant was in terms of fully carving out the arsenal, again, on different angles, different levels of footwork against different levels of physical pressure. SGA is right there when we talk about the little shot-making piece. Again, he doesn't have the same athleticism that Kobe brought, doesn't have the same level of strength that Kobe and MJ brought before him. But in terms of just the level of efficiency of shot touch and like the mechanics throughout the body, he's right there with any of those dudes, if not perfecting it much more than those guys did. And just the last thing, like obviously after this Glaze Fest session from me, I just want to go through SGA's 4-year peak that he's currently on of basically 4 years of averaging at least 30 points a game. But I'm just scoping into just the scoring vibe here. But comparing his current 4-year peak to Kobe and MJ's best 4-year scoring peaks. And let's just compare this. And this, I'll just leave you guys with this. Kobe's 4-year scoring peak, to me, I zoomed into his 2005-06 season all the way up to his 2008-09 year. So that first championship of the Power Kobe era. And over that 4-year stretch, 30 points, 50% effective field goal percentage, 46, 35, 85 splits. Again, absolutely remarkable. I mean, we view Kobe as, for me, he's the 6th greatest player of all time. This is one of the greatest and most inevitable peaks of offense that we saw. But level up from that, let's zoom into Michael Jordan's 4-year scoring peak. For me, I went with 1989 to 90 to 92 to 93. And it's because of the levels of success that he experienced in those later years, especially like towards that postseason success, and how much of a literal inevitable contender the Bulls were as a championship favorite every single year, rather than, like, I'm not looking into when he averaged 37 points a game. These years were more efficient and more perfectionist by MJ to me. And over across this 4-year stretch, 32 points, 53% effective field goal percentage, so a notch above Kobe, 52, 34, 84 splits. So that's literally the GOAT level of offense that we are talking about from Michael Jordan. And SGA's current 4-year peak, just to compare to those guys, 31 points on 56% effective field goal percentage, 53, 37, 89 splits. Literally everything I labeled there except for the literal points total. Every other efficiency marker was much stronger than anything MJ or Kobe did. Obviously, with MJ, we don't have the scoring metrics for different sections on the floor. That only came out in 1997. But for Kobe, in terms of that 4-year stretch, there literally wasn't a section on the floor where Kobe was more efficient than what SGA is doing right now. And again, that has nothing to do with me saying SGA is a greater scorer than Kobe Bryant. This is relative to different era, different standards, different level of spacing, different level of pressure, different level of talent surrounding them. But I'm just throwing it out there that SGA has built upon what those two did in terms of the efficiency by matching their volume too. And that is something that you cannot disregard. And to me, at the very worst, when we are talking about scoring peaks, he's on their level right now. Maybe not as much as MJ. I still think MJ is by far the best scorer of all those guys. But in terms of just the level of Mount Rushmore, shooting guards, like 3-level scoring perfectionists, he's right there. And today marked a day in where we can kind of call SGA and like this prime section that he's in. We can now call him the most consistent scoring prime the NBA's ever seen. I thank you guys for listening. This is just an episode that I was really excited to get into. Literally for the past 27 games from SGA, I was kind of hoping you'd get this record, and then we can kind of give him the respect after notching such an elite marker like this one. And I appreciate you guys for listening, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.